With the upcoming holidays, a lot of people are going to be putting up Christmas lights and decorations. So now's a good time to be talking about ladder safety and making sure that the Christmas lights and cords are in good condition before they're put up on the house. So one thing to consider when picking up ladders is to find a balance point. And then you want to get a wide stance like our power lift talks about and pick it up and put it onto your shoulder. A lot of times people will want to pull it like this, then they're kind of straining their back. So make sure you have a wide stance and put it up on your shoulder to carry it. Okay, so before you actually do any climbing on the ladder, you want to make sure to check it over. Check all the rungs, make sure they're secure, make sure they're not loose or cracked. Check the rails, make sure there's no defects in those. And once you have it set in place, you want to make sure the spreaders are locked out. Okay, so if you're using an extension ladder to get up on the roof, you want to make sure you set it up to where there's a 4-to-1 ratio. And so that means for every 4 foot in height you go, you come out from that wall a foot. And the easy way to guide that is put your feet up against the end of the ladder, put your arms out, and that should be roughly the 4-to-1. Also with extension ladders with the double rungs where they match up, that'll be fairly level. When you're using a ladder on the roof lines, we also want to make sure that we look above, make sure there's no power lines or any other obstructions that we might hit. Another good idea is when you're climbing on ladders, make sure you wear a shoe or a boot with a heel on it. That'll prevent your foot from slipping off the rungs. So if you have to go up on the roof, you want to make sure you have at least 3 feet above the roof line. So then when you get up on top of the roof, it gives you something to hang on to. Before climbing up on an extension ladder, you want to make sure it's secured by either tying it off, or if there's nothing to tie off to, make sure you have somebody else with you to hold the ladder for you. So another thing to think about is when you're putting it up, it might be snow and ice on the ground, so that's another good reason to tie your ladder off. So if you have a 4-wheeler or a garden tractor, you can use that to tie off to. So now we'll start talking about the Christmas lights themselves. We want to make sure that we inspect the light strings, make sure there's no bare copper showing. That might have been from last year's use, rubbing on the roof line or the gutters. So just make sure you take a look at those all the way down the string. Make sure there's no bare wires exposed. Also look for any signs of overheating, such as discolored insulation that might be turning brown or black. That could be a sign that something's wrong with the wires internal or that the circuit was overloaded. A lot of the newer light strings have inline fuses in them, so if you plug them in end to end, it'll protect the circuit from overloading. So if you have a light string that's not working, might be one of the first places to look is to make sure that the fuses aren't blowing. So you're more than likely going to need an extension cord to get from the roof line down to your outlet. So make sure you're using an extension cord that's rated for outdoor use and it has the UL listing for outdoor use. So keep all these things in mind when you're doing your holiday decorating, and always take the time to work and play safely.